Hello everyone, I'm back. And today I brought you an interesting topic. I brought you a topic about gameplay, especially competitive gameplay. To be honest, in the 10th edition I switched to Space Marines, mostly because I read some books and I felt like it. These guys were on the shelf or in the drawer and it's time to bring them out. Okay, but competitive wise. As far as Space Marines go, I found a lot of success, even at events, tournaments or even league matches. I lost some, but I win most of my games. And I don't want to sugarcoat it. I'm really happy about that. I tried a lot of things. And finally, I was able to nail down some of them. I found out which unit performs very well or helped me to win games. And thanks to these informations and experiences, now I found a lot of stuff that becomes staple in my army lists. These units are really good and really great. They will perform their jobs very well. If you have a strong core, you can experience. You can branch out, try out other units with relatively low risk. Okay, but what are these 5 units that I would recommend to you if you want to start Space Marines competitively? Yes, thanks to the different detachments and later on the different chapters, we will have a lot of other great options. But I think these ones will be a strong start for you in your competitive journey. First of all, we have to notice 10th edition is mostly a vehicle per monster based edition, or at least they are much better than they were. That's why we will have some in the list. But only vehicles probably won't win you the games. You will need mobility and utility. Let's check out this 5 unit first. The first one is one that I really hated in the beginning, but now it grew on me. The Banished Dreadnut. First of all, it is a Dreadnut. Big, strong, tough, and really cheap. Probably undercosted points wise, but still, it performs perfectly. This unit costs 140 points. It has a toughness of 10 with a 2+ armor save and 12 wounds, which is really great defensive capabilities for these points. Other than that, it has a Ballistus Las Cannon. It is a really great anti-tank weaponry with 2 shots, hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 12, 3 points of armor penetration and d6+1 damage, so between 2 and 7. Your other weapon is the Ballistus Missile Launcher. The missile launcher's a versatile weapon, but it's the middle of the pack. Why? Because it's not as good anti-tank fire as a Las Cannon, but not as good anti-infantry weapon as an Onslaught Gatling Cannon, for example. Okay, but what this missile launcher can do? It has 2 profiles. One of them is the Crack. With Crack, it has the range of 18, just as the Las Cannon, with 2 shots, hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 10, 2 points of armor penetration and damage d6, so between 1 and 6. As you can see, it has a little bit less strength, armor penetration and damage. But all in all, it's still good. If you don't have big targets, you have small targets, you are able to choose the Frag Missile, which is a blast weapon. That means for every 5 model in the enemy unit, you get 1 extra attack. It has 2d6 attacks, so between 2 and 12, so it's a little bit swingy. This weapon is also hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 5, 0 points of armor penetration, and damage 1. So it's really good against Hormagaunts, Termagants, Guardsmen, Eldari, and anything that is less tough than a Space Marine. Okay, and lastly, it has Twin Stormbolters. All in all, this weapon won't save the world, but it has a range of 24, 2 shots. If your target is within 12, then it has 4 shots, hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 4, 0 points of armor penetration, and damage 1. However, this weapon is twin-linked, so you are able to reroll the wound rolls. Take it as you will, it's free, we have it. Nice. Okay, and it has melee weapons. Basically it has its feet, which is 5 attacks, hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 7, 0 points of armor penetration, and damage 1. This weapon is not good. However, this weapon can be amazing if you have a command point for tank shock. Last game, I charged a Space Marine captain with it, used the stratagem Tank Shock and dealt around 5 or 6 mortal wounds to that Space Marine captain and just killed him in a charge. This thing is great. However, it has an ability which makes it even better. Ballistus Strike. If you are shooting at a target that is not below its half strength, then you are able to reroll the hit rolls. So basically, if you are shooting at a healthy target, then you don't need Oath of Moment. Okay, and other than that, it has Deadly Demise, so when it dies it can blow up, and when it takes too much damage, under 5 wounds, you have to subtract 1 from its hit roll. And anti-infantry shooting option that you can get easily. And for 140 points, this is a steal. Let's check out the next one. This is a little bit different, but the same. The Redemptor Dreadnut. This one is much pricier. It costs 200 points. However, it brings a lot to the table. It is deadly in melee, it is deadly at shooting, and even tankier than his cousin. The defensive profiles are the same. Toughness 10, 2 points of armor save, and 12 wounds. However, each time when the Dreadnought takes a damage, you can subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of that attack, which means it takes 1 less damage, but not less than 1. The Redemptor has a massive array of weapons. I go through with the melee weapon first. It has the Redemptor Fist, which is 5 attacks, hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 12, 2 points of armor penetration, and damage 3. This also works amazingly well with the tank show. Okay, other than that, you can choose between a lot of weapons, and neither of them are bad. However, I play mine with the Macroplasma Incinerator, the Onslaught Gatling Cannon, Twin Storm Bolters, and with the Icarus Rocket Pod. But let's check out quickly all of its weapon options. Heavy Flamer. This weapon is torrent, so it automatically hitting the target, but also ignoring cover. It has a range of 12, so it's a bit short-ranged. It has d6 attacks, with the strength of 5, 1 points of armor penetration, and damage 1. This one is good anti-orc, and relatively dangerous to anything that comes close. But instead of this, you are able to choose the Onslaught Gatling Cannon, which has a range of 24, with 8 shots, hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 4, 0 points of armor penetration, and damage 1. More shots, but it doesn't have an armor penetration. However, what does it have is a devastating wounds ability. So, if any of your wound rolls is a 6, that damage goes through on armor save and invulnerable save. So that's nice. Okay. You are able to choose between the Twin Fragstorm Grenade Launcher and the Twin Storm Bolter. These are so similar, I'm not going to tell their statistics. The thing is, the Twin Fragstorm Grenade Launcher can be better if the enemy close by, but worse if the enemy is in melee or farther away. While the Twin Storm Bolter is okay on every range, and you can use it even in melee. All in all, I like the Twin Storm Bolter because it's much more versatile. Icarus Rocket Pod. This one is not a must, but since it's free, I recommend you to always take it, especially because of his ability. It has the range of 24. It has D3 shots, so shots between 1 and 3. Hitting on a 3+, with a strength of 8, so wounding Space Marines on a 2+, 1 points of armor penetration, and damage 2. This is all good for free, great even. However, it has an anti-fly 2+, which means it can wound target with the fly keyword on a 2+, regarding to anything. So yeah, you can wound Magnus on a 2+ without any effort, just like that. Good addition. Okay, and the last two options, the big weapons, you are able to choose between Onslaught Gatling Cannon, which has a range of 24. It has 12 shots, hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 6, 0 points of armor penetration, and damage 1. And it also has the devastating wounds ability. This weapon is good to clear out infantry units, blobs, and things like that, but thanks to a devastating wounds ability, it can hurt bigger targets, but won't do as much damage to them. And the other option is the Macroplasma Incinerator. This weapon has less shots, but it has 2 firing modes. One of them is the standard. It has the blast ability, so for every 5 enemy models in that unit that you are shooting at, you get 1 extra attack. All in all, it has d6 plus 1 attack, plus the attacks from the blast. Hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 8, 3 points of armor penetration, and damage 2. This is an amazingly good elite killer weapon, but it's even dangerous to smaller vehicles, or light vehicles. But it has another profile, called Supercharge. If you use this one, the range is still 36 inches. It has d6 plus 1 attack, plus attacks from the blast. This time, it's hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 9, 4 points of armor penetration, and damage 3. This time, it deals more damage and has a devastating 4 points of armor penetration. But sadly, with great power comes great responsibility. So if you are shooting that supercharge mode, then after shooting, you have to roll a dice. And if you roll a 1, then the Redemptor takes 3 mortal wounds, because the weapon is overloaded. But usually still worth it, unless it's really wounded. Okay, and we talked about already Redemptor's ability, Duty Eternal, when he takes less damage. He is a great one, usually not that slow, he can help out everywhere on the table, even in melee. So usually he is the one that you are pushing forward, while the Ballistus is relaxing. With the Tech Marine, who will be our next unit on the list. Tech Marine is a really cheap unit. You get this guy for 55 points, and for this amount, he can do a lot. He is good at shooting, he is surprisingly good in melee, can repair and buff vehicles. And while he is next to a vehicle, he can be targeted. So all in all, while he is not alone, he is kinda tanky. Let's check out what this guy can do for this 55 points, which is a steal. Okay, basically it has 2 shooting weapons. One of them is a Forge Bolter. The Forge Bolter has the range of 24. It has 3 shots, hitting on a 2+, with the strength of 5, 1 points of armor penetration, and damage 2. A decent anti-infantry weapon. His other option? Grav Pistol. This weapon is a pistol, so you can shoot it even if you are in melee. And this pistol has the ability of anti-vehicle 2+. So if there is a vehicle nearby and you have to tear a chunk out of it, you can use this one. It has the range of 12, but only 1 shot, hitting on a 2+, with the strength of 4, 1 points of armor penetration, and damage 2, which is okay against a really tough vehicle. Let's check out his melee weapons. One of them is Omniscia Power Axe. This weapon has 4 attacks, hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 6, 2 points of armor penetration, and damage 2. It's not bad. However, if a vehicle dies nearby to him, then this weapon's attack characteristic goes up to 7. So then it has 7 attacks with this one. And when that happens, this guy goes Super Saiyan. Other than that, it has an extra attack with a weapon called Servo Arm. It has 1 attack, hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 8, 2 points of armor penetration, and damage 3. It's a nice to have attack. Okay, what are the abilities of this guy? First of all, Tech Marine. Where he is nearby, within 3 inches of a friendly Adeptus Astartes vehicle, he counts as lone operative, so can be targeted. That is nice. His other ability that I talked about. If friendly Adeptus Astartes vehicle dies within 12 inches of him, then his attack characteristic with the Omniscia Power Axe goes up to 7. These guys, I love their machines. And the last one, Blessing of the Omniscia. In your common phase, you can select one friendly Adeptus Astartes vehicle within 3 inches of this model. That vehicle regains up to D3 wounds. So basically he repairs them. But until your next common phase, this vehicle gets +1 to their hit rolls. So he also buffs them. One important thing, one vehicle can only be buffed and repaired once a turn. Okay, so usually while the vehicles are alive, he buffs them and he is untargetable, so provide you a lot of support utility. But in the later turns, I usually use him to go up, take an objective, or even to go into melee. All in all, he doesn't have a really great defensive profile, but at least he has a 2+ or more save, and it's something. And in the last turns, you probably need more bodies to achieve things, rather than the buff to your last units. But still, if you are doing great, he can just sit there and buff the vehicles. I'm just as surprised as this cat. One thing I would like to ask you to consider. As I just saw, many of my returning viewers and viewers are not subscribed to this channel. If you are a returning viewer and enjoying the content, please consider subscribing. Let's go to the 4th one, Scout Squad. To be honest, they doesn't seem much, however, they did a great service to me, even in tournaments, even in league, or just all in all gaming. Scout Squad, 5 models, for 55 points, which is then again dirt cheap. What do you have to know about this unit? This unit has the same toughness as Space Marines, only they're saving worse, 4+. But you are not going to take them because of their toughness or because their damage dealing capabilities. You will take them because of their utility, mobility, and all in all usefulness. These guys are equipped with bolt gun and close combat weapon, which means they are not going to do a lot of damage. Their equipment does count? Well, yes, for some extent. You are able to pick up some weapons, 1 scout sniper rifle and 1 heavy weapon of your choice. And you definitely should. The main thing that you have to consider is that you are want to pick up a heavy bolter or a missile launcher. The sniper rifle is a must in my opinion, because it's strictly just better than the other options. But the big thing that I want to recommend you is at least one of the models has to have a shotgun. Because the shotgun is assault, so they are still eligible to shoot even after running, so you can advance and still do objectives. I would also recommend to take a chainsword on your sergeant, because then he will have more attacks and a little bit of armor penetration in melee. But I'm not going to take up more of your time. Let's go through the abilities, and this is the thing why you want to bring them, other than the cheap bodies. First of all, they are infiltrators, so you are able to deploy them anywhere on the board, but more than 9 inches from enemies and from the enemy's deployment zone. Other than that, they have Scout 6. So before the game starts, but after you know if you will start or not, you are able to move them up to 6 inches to take up a more offensive or a more defensive position on the table. That is also nice. And the last thing, the big thing, guerrilla tactics. If, at the end of opponent's turn, the scout squad is more than 6 inches away from enemy models, you can remove them from the battlefield and put them to your strategic reserves. And this is really annoying and tedious for your opponent, but it's really great for you, because you will have at least 3 units that you are able to pick up, put to other places, finish objectives, or just even move block the enemy, deploy teleport homers, or just finish behind enemy lines easily if your enemy doesn't leave anything there. However, if he does, then you are basically fighting against a smaller army, because he will have less units to go midfield, take your objectives, assault you, or things like that. But if you are fighting against a more assault-like army, you are able to take up choke points, so the enemy Thunderwolf cavalry or bikers can just run through and tag your tanks, tag your dreadnoughts. You can do so much with these guys, and I can't even tell to you. In the last event, these guys won me my last game. So yeah, don't underestimate them. However, if you don't hide them, they will die rather easily, so use them mostly for objectives. But man, these are amazing in that. Okay, and let's check out the last one. I would say Gladiator, but under Gladiator I mean either the Lancer or the Reaper. Both of them are great. Let's go to the Reaper first. I usually just started to use these guys, but these are amazing. Okay then. Gladiator Reaper. One model for 150 points. Okay, this is an anti-infantry extravaganza thing. It has so much shots that it just warms even an orc's soul. All in all, this is softer than Dreadnought, but faster, and really great against the infantry. First of all, let's check out its weapons. Icarus Rocket Pod, the same as in case of the Redemptor Dreadnought. It has a range of 24, D3 shots, so shots between 1 and 3, hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 8, 1 points of armor penetration and damage 2. And yes, it still has the anti-fly 2+. Your other weapon, Heavy Stabber. This weapon is rapid fire 3, so if the enemy that you are shooting at with it is within half range, then you have 3 extra shots. It has the range of 36. It has 3 shots, hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 4, 0 points of armor penetration and damage 1. Oh my emperor, this is when it starts to become spicy. It has 2 Tempest Bolters. This weapon has rapid fire 4, so 4 extra shots for each if the target is within half range. It has a range of 24. It has 4 shots, hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 4, 1 points of armor penetration and damage 1. Okay, but because it is 2, all in all it has 8 shots. But if the target is within half range, this weapon has 16 shots, and that's nice. And the big gun, the turret gun, Twin Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon. This weapon has the Devastating Wounds ability and it is twin-linked. It has a range of 24, with 12 attacks, hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 6, 0 points of armor penetration and damage 1. But don't forget, you are able to reroll the wound rolls. And since this weapon has the Devastating Wounds ability, every wound roll of 6 that you roll, it goes through armor and invulnerable saves. Also, this tank has an ability for this weapon. If you target infantry with the Twin Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon, then this weapon has the Sustain Hits 2 ability. So for every 6 that you roll as a hit roll, you get 2 additional hits. So usually with 12 shots, I have to have around 14 hits. So
it's free real estate.
Okay, and other than that, it has a melee weapon called Armored Hull. It has 3 attacks, hitting on a 4+, with the strength of 6, 0 points of armor penetration and damage 1. Yeah, this is the thing that you don't want to be in melee with. Other than that, this tank has the ability Deadly Demise D3. So if it dies, you roll a dice and on a 6 it blows up and deals D3 wounds everything around it within 6 inches. So be careful where it blows up. And yes, this is probably our 6th unit. Just with a different turret, so I count them as one. The Gladiator Lancer. One model for 160 points. This is the anti-tank variety of the Gladiator tanks. This tank has 2 Stormbolters. A Stormbolter has the ability of rapid fire 2. So if the enemy is within half range, you get 2 extra shots per Stormbolter. It has the range of 24, with 2 attacks, hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 4, 0 points of armor penetration and damage 1. It also has the Icarus Rocket Pod, which has the range of 24, with D3 attacks, hitting on a 3+, with the strength of 8, 1 points of armor penetration and damage 2. But also it has the ability of anti-fly 2. So really effective against flying opponents. Other than that, it has an Iron Hail Heavy Stabber, which is basically a bolter with better range and with more shots. Okay, and let's go to the spicy part. Lancer Laser Destroyer. This weapon is heavy, so if the tank didn't move in your last movement phase, then you can add 1 to your hit rolls. It has the glorious range of 72, with 2 shots, hitting on a 3+, 2+ if you didn't move, with the strength of 14, 4 points of armor penetration and damage d6 plus 3, so between 4 and 9. And that's a nice, devastating amount of damage. Okay, these are its shooting weapons. It also has the armored hull with 3 attacks hitting on a 4+, with the strength of 6, 0 points of armor penetration and damage 1. But you don't want this tank in melee. Okay, this all in all nice, it has an amazing weapon. But to that weapon we can add a great ability, which is an amazing combination with the Lancer Laser Destroyer. The ability called Aquilon Optics. Each time when this model selected to shoot, you can reroll 1 hit roll, you can reroll 1 wound roll, and you can reroll 1 damage roll when you resolve those attacks. So most of the time you will hit, you will wound, and you will deal more than 4 damage. So it's a really great and reliable anti-tank weapon. I recently used it in my last 4 games, and it was just chef's kiss. All in all, I can highly recommend you this model. However, the gladiators are not as tough as the dreadnoughts, so don't be shy to use Armor of Contempt on them if they are getting targeted really heavily. However, probably you can utilize that 72 inches range to get shot by a lot less things. For example, the last cannons has only just 48 inches of range, so you can outrange them for a turn or 2. Okay, usually these are the Stample units in my army. I usually take 2 or 3 units of scouts, at least 1 Tech Marine, 1 or 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts, at least 1 Redemptor, and 1 of these tanks. Usually the Gladiator Lancer, but in the last few games I started to see the real strength of the Gladiator Reaper too. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you for watching and listening. I hope you learned something interesting or new that will help out on your Warhammer journey. If you like what I do, please consider liking, subscribing, or both, and even hit the little bell. If you don't hit the little bell, I will probably upload a video on each week. Okay, thank you once more, and I hope I see you in the next one. See ya.